Let's talk about what happens when schools actually take action on this issue, because there are some really instructive case studies from school districts that have removed artificial dyes from cafeteria and vending machine offerings, and the results are worth paying attention to. When school districts implement procurement rules that exclude artificial colors, they're essentially conducting a large-scale intervention that affects thousands of children simultaneously. Some of the pioneering districts did this over a decade ago, and we now have before and after data on how it worked out. School nutrition directors I've interviewed describe the transition as challenging but ultimately successful. The initial hurdles involve reformulating recipes, finding new suppliers, and dealing with student and parent resistance to foods that look different. Kids are used to bright orange mac and cheese and neon-colored popsicles, and suddenly the cafeteria offerings look more muted. But something interesting happens over time. Student acceptance actually increases after an adjustment period. Once kids get used to the more natural appearance of food, they stop seeing it as boring or unappetizing. In fact, several districts reported that after the transition, students started bringing more positive attitudes about cafeteria food, possibly because the healthier ingredients actually taste better. Vending machine sales data shows an initial dip when dyed products are removed, but sales typically recover within a semester as students adapt to the new options. Cost impacts vary but tend to be manageable. Natural alternatives are more expensive, but the districts that have been most successful with these programs typically found ways to offset costs through better procurement practices, reduced waste, or modest price adjustments. Some districts also reported that the health improvements they observed, fewer behavioral incidents, better attendance, better concentration, created cost savings in other areas that helped justify the program. One nutrition director told me that the number of kids being sent to the office for behavioral issues dropped noticeably after they cleaned up the cafeteria offerings, though obviously that's hard to prove definitively. The policy mechanisms that work best involve clear procurement standards that vendors must meet, staff training on ingredient evaluation, and communication campaigns to prepare students and parents for the changes. Districts that rushed the transition without adequate preparation tended to face more backlash. Those that took time to explain the reasons, involve students in taste testing new products, and phase in changes gradually had smoother experiences. Some districts have gone beyond just removing dyes to implement broader healthy food policies, removing artificial ingredients generally, reducing added sugars, increasing whole grains, and fresh produce. These comprehensive approaches seem to have the most dramatic effects on student health and behavior. Teacher reports from these districts often mention improvements in afternoon attention and reductions in the post-lunch energy crashes that plague many schools. Of course, schools are fighting an uphill battle when kids go home and consume dye-heavy products all afternoon and evening. But at minimum, removing these chemicals from the 6 or 7 hours kids spend at school reduces overall exposure significantly. The lesson here is that policy-driven change works. When institutions set standards and enforce them through procurement rules, the food industry adapts and provides compliant products. This is the power of institutional purchasing, and it's a model that could be applied more broadly.